I was told that the process of making art should be enjoyable, but I secretly hated it. It made me feel anxious, and it was so frustratingly painful at points that I felt sick to my stomach at the thought of finishing off that one piece. So I stopped. I stopped making art because it was my understanding that if I was meant to be an artist, the process should feel fun, right? And it did sometimes, but what happens when it doesn't? We tell ourselves it can't be our passion because if it was, then the process wouldn't hurt. This guilt and shame and conflicting emotion, I was confused. In fact, my day job sometimes felt easier than making art, and at least I was getting paid. We tell ourselves art doesn't pay the bills yet, so we bury it and put our feet back on the ground. Focus on the 9 to 5. It's the logical thing to do. It makes sense. Abandon your art and quit. But then months go by, years go by, and that feeling sneaks back in. An itch that can't be scratched. It can't be itched. Inspiration strikes. We swipe it away. And then one day, we're minding our own business and we see someone on our socials making a similar idea to ours. Not quite the same, but quite close. And this intense streak of jealousy bolts through our stomach. That was my idea. I was doing that. Now we really are sick to our stomach with regret. This feeling won't leave you. It pesters you. It torments you because deep down there is this delusional feeling telling us right in our guts, in our soul, that we are meant to be doing something else, that we should be pursuing our art because it's our passion. You want to do it, but you can't. You don't want to be in pain anymore. Damn it, we started making our stupid art to get away from the pain, not experience more. We did not sign up for suffering. Does this sound familiar? We approach art as if the process shouldn't feel like work. It should feel like an escape from all that. It's supposed to feel liberating and satisfying. So what's this pain doing here? It's time to understand something. You don't choose to be an artist. It chooses you. And if you're good, that idea will continue to haunt you until you make it. My name is Liv. I'm a Ugandan English artist from London, and I advocate for artists focusing on the mental process of creating art and its psychological and holistic impact. Being an artist is so much more than the skills and talent taught in school. No one teaches us how to survive, how to truly live as artists, how to create, how to stay creative, navigate the struggles and endure the challenges that come with living a creative life. This is what I stand for. I do this because I hate to see artists quit on themselves, whether it's the weight of creating and it feels too heavy, the fear of being seen becomes too much, or somebody else has shamed them into never sharing art. For many of us, it feels like life or death, caught between this terror of vulnerability and the fight to be recognised. We know what we have to do, we just can't do it. And I believe the most beautiful art may never be seen because the artist behind it couldn't bear the psychological toll of creating it. So if you're watching this, I am speaking directly to you. I've seen people transform with just a little support, just a nudge from somebody who's been through the same experience, who's hit rock bottom, gone to hell and come back. I have ADHD, autism and CPTSD, so I'm not going to give you crappy advice that I wouldn't take. This is stuff that I find legitimately useful and advice I stand 10 toes down in. Passion is the foundation of love, true love. That's why when we're in love with someone, it's pretty painful because it feels so good in the beginning that we become lovesick. It's so intoxicating. We get withdrawal symptoms, walking around, arms crossed with anxiety, pacing, then clutching our pearls with lust because we've only gone and fallen in love again. Do they feel the same way? We hope they do. We know they do. Are we sure they do? Birth. Any parent will tell you it's not painful just at the delivery, but because it's painful always, they're always worried. Every moment they're carrying the weight of that constant ache in the pit of their stomach. The love they feel for their child is wrapped in pain, in the fear of the unknown, in the knowledge that no matter how much they protect them, life is unpredictable. It is an endless state of tension where the depth of love also exposes the depth of vulnerability. Death. When somebody dies who we love so deeply, we're in so much intense pain because we become acutely aware of how much that person meant to us. It expresses how deeply we loved that person. The magnitude of love, once veiled, becomes painfully clear and is all-consuming. And yet tragically, it's inevitable. A universal truth. We all must face it, and we are born to die. We need music and movies and memories and paint and art. In love, going through a breakup, you've lost your job, argued with your best friend, no one quite understands you. But art does. That's the paradox. Shakespeare called this the mortal coil, which encapsulates the human condition of the spiral of pain, the circle of life. To be or not to be. Are you awake or are you sleepwalking? Are you in or are you out? Consciousness. We're here to reflect what's happening in our realities. The process can be cold and brutal, but damn, it has stunning curves, like a 90s Mugler piece, like seeing a deity in the flesh. As Dante in the Inferno recounts, I turned to Beatrice with her radiance so dazzled my eyes that at first I could not bear it. The exquisite pain that kind of makes you feel so alive, so aware of your mortality, fully conscious of every bittersweet emotion. The tension between suffering and transcendence makes the creation of art so deeply human and symbolic. My God, do I feel powerfully alive and kicking when I make good art, until I see it the next day and decide it's bad art now and want to throw it in the bin. Every single artist I know has this love-hate relationship with the process because art is intrinsically tied to Freud's pleasure-pain principle, where every spark of joy in creation is also shadowed by the agony of doubt, rejection, and self-criticism. And this is something I wish my art teacher would have told me, but I guess you have to be the change you want to see, and that is what artists do. We bring about change through our art. If you want to understand something, go to the root. As a writer, I think the etymology of words is a major key to understanding the universe. It's hidden in plain sight, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. So what do the words passion, compatibility, patient, patience, and empathy all have in common? Mainly quite positive words, right? Let's break them down, starting with passion, as in, I'm so passionate about my art. I'm so passionate about helping others or animals, or even my relationship is so passionate and sexy and electric. Yeah, guess what? Passion literally means to suffer. Compatibility, as in, we're so compatible, we get on like a house on fire. Well, your ability to get along with another is rooted in how much pain you're willing to accept as a means of compromise in a relationship. The word compatible comes from com, meaning with, together, and pati, meaning to suffer. So when we say we're compatible, what we're really saying is we're suffering together. Now, a patient is someone receiving treatment, right? Actually, the word patient originally meant one who suffers. Okay, fine, but patience. I have to be patient whilst I wait for my exam results or for my crush to text me back. But guess what? Still suffering. Empathy, as in to understand, feel, and share feelings with another. I'm sure you've guessed it by now. It means in suffering or in pain, similar to compassion with pain. And so there are many words that stem from the Latin root word pati, meaning suffering. So are you picking up what I'm putting down? When they said, "It's a thin line between love and hate," they weren't joking. Passion is our ability to suffer for what we love. And having a passion does not feel good all the time. But when it hits, it is the best feeling in the world. Once we understand that the mortal coil is always in some way experiencing pain to know itself, in fact, we seek it because the byproduct is pleasure. We stop demonizing our art, stop stubbornly resisting the natural process of following our passions. For art is the ultimate act of self-love. We abandon our art because often we've been abandoned by the people around us, and under pressure we resort to the same punishment we received as children. Saying no feels like freedom, especially when you've never had a choice before. I get it. It hurts, but don't break your own heart by quitting on your art. It's the ultimate betrayal, the deepest form of self-abandonment. Look, the truth is there is no instant gratification in art and no validation or success, a pat on the back or recognition for a long time. Art can feel like a thankless job. An overnight success takes 10 years, and good art, again, takes time, dedication. And the thing is, it's actually what humans love to do. It's so gratifying. It's in our blood. Since we could draw stick figures in caves or dance around a log fire and sing, it is extremely rewarding for our brains to make art. And though we will at certain points definitely feel unsafe and shame through the process, that is completely normal. And it should feel risky. It should feel scary. If you don't feel scared, you're doing it wrong. If you feel ready, you're too late. Instead, because again, no one explains this to us, we run away from discomfort into the arms of so-called safety, except we take the easy way out. We take the shortcut, like doom scrolling till our heads explode with overstimulation and over-consuming fast food that's ultra-processed that we know is bad for us, and buy fast fashion dupes, but especially fast love. We cannot get enough of fast love and limerence. Heavy on the limerence. However, synthetic dopamine from swiping, a slow poison that is killing us quietly, violently, and strangles our soul. Except making art, on the other hand, has the power to save your life if only we allowed ourselves the courage and the patience to create it. I need you to understand how incredibly special that glow of courage in your heart is right now. And if you want to give it another shot, I respect that so deeply and honor that magical ability that you have of creating something out of literally nothing. Yes, it feels hard because we are making magic from scratch. Anything from scratch ain't so damn easy, especially without an instruction manual. But as artists, it is our job to somewhat suffer for our art. Don't jump out the window. Look at it this way. You suffer anyway at your job that you hate, your day job. Day in, day out, you're having a miserable lunch every day, staring out the window, wishing you were somewhere else. Smelling your co-workers' farts, wishing you were anywhere but here. If pain is inevitable and everywhere we turn, like Buddhism teaches us, we may as well suffer in style. With honor and dignity, and with a damn choice of making our art, because that is our autonomy. And I don't know about you, but I'm not going down without a fight, so we may as well go down swinging together. I think a lot of you are probably making very intense bodies of work, stripping back your identity, adding mil-fi, because you're having to go into all of these nooks and crannies of your psyche to make this art. It's like opening a can of worms, and I really respect you for doing that, because it can take you into dark places, but it also has this power to fill us with extreme happiness, with extreme euphoria and joy, but also subtle emotions like contentment and tranquility and peace. The journey that we go on is treacherous. The process of making art is not for the faint of heart. Not everybody has the stomach for it, or the strength. So I am so proud of you for doing it and giving it your best shot. Many will critique, but could never have the guts to do what you're doing. We make the unseen seen, and that is forging something out of thin air, and that is truly magical, the epitome of abracadabra. It is truly tumultuous to delve into the great dark, because darkness is inviting, and if you're not careful, you get stuck in the maze. Ethel Cain calls it the maze in the ring, and the great dark, and the proximity to God. That video is amazing. I recommend it to all autistic artists, for anyone with taste. Anyway, back to the damn point. It is a prerequisite and absolutely necessary to ground yourselves as means of protection. You are a wizard, you are a sorcerer, you are a magician, you are wielding great amounts of energy. We allow the work to come through us and out of us and not get stuck inside of us. Artists channel and let it run its course. We let the emotion run its course, and it's our job to send it out into the universe. Creatives are meant to produce art, not keep it and hoard it. We're meant to share it. When we keep it inside our brain, we suffer. When we don't create, we become tortured artists. I don't believe we need to torture ourselves to make art. The same way Buddhist principles teach us that pain is inevitable, but suffering is not. Now, don't get me wrong, there will be times when you have to suffer for your art, like anything, but that should not be your baseline. Just like electricity needs to be grounded or it will electrocute us, the same applies to creative energy. We must respect its power. As an artist, you must understand we are channels, lightning rods. This has really got nothing to do with you. You just happen to be the closest person to the lightning. We're just doing our job, taking the inspiration from the ether and delivering it to the people who it resonates with. Most artists are highly sensitive to internalizing, and due to our sensitive nature, we feel that we must take on all the responsibility of art 24/7. Listen, you are a whole person outside of your art. Yes, you are the artist who makes the art, but we don't have to embody being an artist all the time, because that is unhealthy. It's not balanced. Because no job should be working full-time, 365. That's capitalist programming. No good art can be made this way. It is counter to our culture of being an artist. Art is a skilled job that we get to take breaks from, like everyone else. So we mustn't martyr ourselves, and we must ground ourselves into the reality of being mortal and not letting our ego get the better of us. What goes up must come down, as above, so below. It is the rule of cause and effect. Nobody escapes it. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Just like in the film, The Substance, we must respect the balance. We cannot fly too close to the sun or we will die like Icarus. So how do we ground ourselves? We get back into our bodies and out of our minds. We must separate from the art. Many believe this is not possible, but I think it is. That doesn't mean you get to be a nasty expletive because your art did it, but stay with me. I believe if you do not separate the art from the artist, the end result is artists like Amy Winehouse, Kurt Cobain, Basquiat, Whitney Houston. If we don't learn how to deal with the silence, watch any biopic on any superstar, rock star. They go on tour performing to thousands of people, and then they come off tour only to have a nervous breakdown because they can't deal with the intensity of that off switch. They turn to vices and get stuck in the maze. And the maze is like Hotel California. You can check out at any time, but you can never leave. It's like purgatory. Now, I know you don't want to lecture, but like many of you, 15 years ago, I lived for seeing the bottom of a bottle. It was the indie sleaze era. Being out of your body, blacking out, and binge drinking wasn't just normalised, it was encouraged. Now, whilst it might look cool waking up in some strange man's house 2 hours from home, I can tell you that it isn't. It's terrifying. Substances, drinking, partying, non-stop.
No sleep. Bus. Club. Another club. Another club. Plane. Next place. No sleep. No fear.
Look, it's fun, but it's not sustainable. And I need you to understand that you will make better art when you are in your body, not intoxicated, trying to escape reality. If we don't learn to exist by remaining in our bodies and we keep abandoning our soul's vessel, we actually lose connection to our soul. We protect the soul by protecting the body at all costs. When we inevitably suppress emotions, they will burst out the sides of us at the most inconvenient of moments. Not like rain on your wedding day, like diarrhea on your wedding day. We don't need to escape reality to make art. The closer we are to reality, the better. The more people will relate to our art and the more authentic it will be. We must come out of the creative portal, as irresistible as it is, or we will become trapped inside of it. You can't be in God mode 24/7. You will explode. It's too much ecstasy. We must know our place as mortals with others on earth. Grounding physical activity helps. It just works. Walking in nature, cooking real food, cleaning items you adore, simple crafting hobbies. Yes, being a bog standard mortal might be dull at times, but it works. It's understimulating. It's why some monks just clean all day. It's a type of meditation. In fact, it's how moments of inspiration happen, and we always need those moments. It's through this act of gratitude, of being present in the moment and polishing something as an act of love by being grateful for what you have. It makes you appreciate how far you've come. It sounds too simple to be true, but putting things into order physically helps our mind mentally. Humans often complicate things for no reason. The state of disorder to order is entropy, it's constant, so accept that we can't avoid it. Think of it as a ritual. The bed will always need to be made, and you're far less likely to make excuses and procrastinate if your room is clean. Trust me, I have to remove all obstacles before I make art, or I will make excuses. It's a way of making space for creativity to come in. If there's no room in it, it simply can't. It's like cleaning before your friend comes over because you're excited to see them. It's respectful to you and your friend, inspiration, who we wish would pop round more. So let's tie this all up in a bow. We need pain, aka dark emotions, to make art. So when we quit making art, we lie to ourselves. By only willing to accept, live, laugh, love emotions, we deny a huge part of ourselves. Nothing will kill your soul more than lying. Lying kills your spirit by denying its existence and its identity. Pain refuses to lie, and it is a wonderful teacher because it won't allow you to continue to lie. It strips away deception and reveals the truth. If we respect what it's trying to show us, often it's something we've repressed. By embracing the honesty pain demands, we reclaim our artistic integrity and simultaneously we solidify our self-respect. This is how we make awe-inspiring art that moves and affects the world. The good stuff which comes full circle to that feeling of freedom. But the real secret to being a good artist is staying in the game, staying alive. And so we must treat the vessel of our body with devotion and love and care. Art is a game of endurance after all, not just magic and devotion. Being an artist transcends traumatic experience and alchemizes it into gold, into beauty, into joy, and into success and lasting happiness, but only if we allow the art to fully express itself. This has been The State of the Artist.